Hi there, I'm going to do some video analysis today for this week's Mastery Monday. So what I'm going to do with this swimmer is I'm going to look at some of the synchronization points on this swimmer. But what I also want to look at is some of the cause and effect that's happening with the swimmer's arm recovery. So I'm going to play it through just a couple of times in real time so that you can get a feeling of what we are looking at. So you can see the swimmer is swimming really quickly. It's got a really good body position in the water. We've got everything at the surface of the water, which is absolutely fantastic and always what we want to see. We've got some whole body rotation going on, which we can see, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. We've got forward momentum going on. We've got the arms going in a forward direction, and we also have the legs within the body line at most times during the stroke. We've got the arm going in a forward direction during the breath, which is a really great thing to see. So lots of great stuff going on. Certainly a lot of work being done on this stroke, and some going in a great direction. But let's have a look at some of the cause and effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this off, and you can see that I've synced these videos here. And actually I'll take him closer. And what I want you to see is the moment that the whole of that arm comes out of the water on the recovery here. So that's where I want you to be looking, is on the recovery. Remembering just one of the rules of thumb is as soon as any body part comes out of the water, it instantly becomes 10 times heavier than it was in the water. And what I want you to notice is the direction that the body moves here as the arm comes out. Can you see how the whole body sinks down towards the bottom of the pool? So more of his body ends up under the water as that arm goes up and over. So he's got quite a straight arm recovery going on there. And I always just find it super interesting to watch these cause and effects happening in real time on the video. What we can also see is how the head disappears as well. You can see how he gets lower and lower in the water. And as he then puts the arm in, you can see his body raises up again. So if I now reverse this and I play it in slow motion, you'll be able to see that as he swims along the pool, how he's got this sort of bounce. So there's more of the body, less of the body, more of the body, less of the body as he swims up the pool. So if we think about this from an efficiency point of view, we can see that some of the time in a very good swimmer is spent in that body going up and down this way rather than just going in a straight line that way. And largely that's down to what he's doing with his arm recovery. You can see there, especially even on the breath, how it's way above his center of gravity. So this is all gonna just fall down. You can see there's not much of his body out of the water here, maybe just one goggle. And what we should be seeing is a small slither all the way along the top. So that was one of the things that I just thought was really interesting in this swim, and not so much on the other side because the arm recovery is much lower, wider, and closer to the surface of the water. So we're not seeing the sinking happening on his left streamline with his right arm recovery that we are seeing with his right streamline and his left recovery. Which is interesting. And then just the last thing that I wanted to point out is the synchronization of the stroke, so the timing of the stroke. So as I look at this stroke here, what I can really notice is that the swimmer, consciously or not, is really thinking about pulling himself through the water. So he is initiating the rotation with the pull. And you can see here we don't use the word pull, but that's what he is actually doing, which is why I'm using it. You can see here that that pull has happened, and until this point here, which is probably halfway through his pull, there's been 0 rotation happening and 0 press happening with the legs. So we want to really make sure that when we are thinking about the synchronization, that at this moment, because getting a really good catch position, I'm loving this. He's not dropping the elbow. It's looking really great. If he could start rotating at that moment where he is now, use the rotation, press with the legs, and send his head past this point here, he would have he would move much further for every stroke he's taking, rather than it being an isolated pulling movement that's not connected to that rotation. So even though he's a really, really great swimmer and he has got so many great things going on here, if we just played around a little bit with his arm recovery and his ability to time his stroke better and make his rotation the engine, rather than his pull the engine, there would be so much potential for him to be probably even faster, even more efficient, and certainly reduce the risk of injury that could be happening with that left shoulder, with that pull happening in the way that it is. So he would, if he could change that into a hold and a catch, he would have a much better chance of saving his shoulder. Maybe not now, but for certainly when he's older. Thank you for listening. Just a couple of things to think about there. So it'd be always really interesting when you look at video like this, is to try and get some video of yourself swimming and have a look at the cause and effect of what parts of your stroke are having on your body position. How is your body moving through the water? Are you going in a straight line, or are you indeed going up and down, sinking, or perhaps going left to right? Because the more you find out about your swimming, the more you'll be able to make changes and become more efficient. Thank you for listening.